I really listen. I have two best friends. They are white. We grew up. We went to the same school, same college, same university. Not same university, but we all went to university. We are like the same, but our lives have gone into so many different directions because of where we come from, because of what we look like, what our cultural context actually says, and therefore what our history. I'm the first one out of my siblings to go to university. For them, their mothers went to university. They're from England. They have privilege. Of course, they can get to a point of complaining about unequal pay. I don't even get paid. I don't even know how to get a job. I've just graduated. I don't know what happens next. So why are you talking to me about certain things? You know what I mean? Obviously,
Yes.
this is something that is difficult to express to the community sometimes because they don't understand that you need to separate. Just being a woman doesn't make us all the same. That is why
That's
being a modern woman is not the same for everybody. You know what I
right.
mean?
I understand 100%. God teaches that in 1 Corinthians 6:17 about separate, because there must be when we try to include ourselves into the Caucasian dominant society, our experiences are two different experiences. Our
Yeah,
experience is not their experience. So when we try to roll with them wherever they go, there's different barriers.
yes.
Okay, read that for us. Is it 1 Corinthians 6? 2 Corinthians? I'm sorry, I'll get that mixed up. Second Corinthians 6
Yes,
and
sir. I got you.
17. Okay.
2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 17. Wherefore, come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you,
Read.
and I will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Lord Almighty.
So we have to like many of my Caucasian counterparts, my associates, we have two different backgrounds. So we work together, we may go to lunch together, but after that, we go our separate ways. Two different communities, two different lifestyles. We have to understand that. And
Yes,
that's what's not being taught to
and
society.
that's true. That is
That
true.
seems hate speech.
No, but you know, and then but this is the thing. It's true, and then we go and we can go deeper to then bring the whole thing of interracial dating. This is the thing. I have not necessarily have so many issues with that, but I kind of do at the same time. I am blessed that culturally my parents are compatible because they both came from Angola. But then I can imagine, because looking at the experience my mom has had and looking at the experience that my dad would have had in the world, I understand why there would be clashes if they didn't have the same parallels of being Angolan and experiencing war and both experiencing struggle where race didn't matter. But when you
Right.
bring that into the modern world where you've got just, people getting into relationships and not understanding that your basic existence is not even the same. You're not even about to understand each other. It takes a lot. And I know people say, yeah, love. Yes, you can do it. Yes, you can love each other and you can overcome many barriers, but ultimately the odds are really quite stacked up quite high against you.
Correct. Hey, people get mad at this law about interracial dating, interracial marriage. In Deuteronomy 7 and 3, please read that for us.
Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. For they will
So,
turn
no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
for they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you, and destroy thee suddenly.
So the Lord never wanted us to get into interracial dating. Because why? Their God is not our God. We have two, they have a white God, we have a black God. And unless we serve a white God, they won't. I remember at work when the people with me found out that my God, Christ, is black in the Bible, Revelation chapter 1, verse 14 and 15, they got mad and said I was racist. I said, but it's in the Bible. That's what it looks like. They stopped being my friend. They didn't want to talk to me no more. I said, hey, have at it. I told my daughter the same thing. Listen, with these people, unless you worship their God, talk like they talk, be like they be, they will not accept you. Understand that. So
Yes.
that's what we all have to understand. Got to understand that thing.
Of course, and obviously that is why when, the times of the explorations, the missionaries forced the slaves to accept their
Yes.
sayings, what they expect, what they want. So, it's it's a complex subject to go into, because obviously it's very easily labeled into racism, but actually when we look at the practical and logical context behind everything, it does make a huge difference. It causes a lot of problems, really. It's okay, obviously there are exceptions where people make it work and all of these things, but generally when you really think about it, yeah, it's not great. And then you obviously then look at a lot of the time how a lot of, and this is especially quite true for a lot of the brothers, they find themselves into very sticky situations that, it's not okay. Even I found it very funny when Cat Williams was very honest in his interview, where he said he's afraid of white women. He runs away because it's true. They don't even understand how one simple word can can ruin a black man's life, for example,
Yes.
because they don't
Yes.
understand what his experience and reality is in the world, and what that word against his name means. Probably Peter, Paul, or whatever the names would be, for him it'd be okay to be in that situation, not for Alua. No way.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean? He'll get into big problems, and this is what I mean. I think, it's there's again, and this modernity, this globalization of relationships, it is causing, again, another potential risk for a lot of future clashes
Mhm.
between, man and woman, parents, father and daughter and mother with their children, where they are getting into these situations, not even understanding how their culture means, what it means to them, and their visions for the future, and for, the family structure and what they expect. And again, broken homes, you see a lot of what they call now the baby mamas.
Right.
There's a lot of those. There's a lot of women out there that have got these beautiful mixed race children that are being raised with absolutely no cultural identity that is actually resembling what they truly are. And then they're scared and they're lost, and they just, obviously, just bad things start to happen when you don't know yourself. What happens? You get lost.
Yes. The in the Most High talks about single babies, mama drama, and Sirach 42, 10 and 11. Read that for me. It talks about young women should not have a child while still living in their parents' house. They had to get married. And that's not taught in society today. Read that for us, Sirach 42, 10 and 11.
Sirach chapter 42, verse 10. In her virginity, lest she should be defiled and gotten with child in her father's house, and having a husband, lest she should misbehave herself, and when she is married, lest she should be barren.
So
Keep
God said it's a shame for a young woman to have a child in her father's house. Now watch the next verse. Go ahead.
keep a sure watch over a shameless daughter, lest she make thee a laughing stock to thine enemies, and a byword in the city, and a reproach among the people, and make thee ashamed before the multitude.
Like there's a famous actor, you may or may know him from The Matrix, Lawrence Fishburne.
Yes.
His daughter went into pornography. He was so ashamed, he tried to buy all the copies of this one particular film, but he missed one. And that one went viral everywhere. So he became a laughing stock to the people that did not like him. So
Yes.
if we will apply these basic Bible principles to our people, the Israelites, because that's who we are, we would be so much better off. But our people think the Bible is a book for back then, but it's very relevant for today
Yes.
because evolving into the future is making us more and more degenerate.
Yes. No, that is true. To be honest, this is the thing. For me, when it comes to religion in the modern day, because I obviously understand a lot of the historical context of religion, especially
Mhm.
with Christianity in Europe and things like this, I am very
Yes.
skeptical about the actual term religion, because
Mm.
for me it has a lot of negative connotations. However, I am fully not against the people being able to have access to writings that actually provide guidance, like you said, that is relevant overall,
Mhm.
is also quite sound, and whether or not you like it is probably a better alternative to what we've got going on right now and what will
Right.
happen in the future as a result. So I think it's like, that's why it's important for me to, have conversations with people like you, because although I am not affiliated with your church, with your movement, I am able to connect on a parallel thinking, because actually what I've learned from the world around me, from the good examples of people that I have in my life, are the teachings that are quite compatible with some of the things that you've said to me. There is nothing that you've read from the Bible that was like, oh, do you know what, I don't quite agree with that, oh, I disagree with that, oh, this is bad. All of it makes sense, all of it seems to be quite sound. Obviously
Mhm.
people can apply it and interpret it as they want, but the basic message is what it is. You know,
That's
it
right.
actually it provides a contrast to what people imagine now. And when you look
Mm.
at, like, if you follow this, really, what are the risks? Really, what
Right.
can go wrong if you respect a man? What can go wrong if you pick the right man, you respect him and you let him lead, but you're still strong and you still lead in your own way, in your own things. You guys are a partnership, you respect each other, you have children, you take care of the babies, you learn from your mother and from your grandmother how to be a good mother, and you're going to be okay. You're not going to be lost, you're not going to be scared. Let your man also pick the right people to teach him how to be a man. Let
Right.
him be okay to understand where his flaws are, so he can work on them and be a better man. You know,
Right.
support him to get there, support him to grow, because then it's actually a default on you. It's a shame to you as a woman to have ended up with a man that didn't even grow whilst being.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models.